So we start off our ODI campaign or our ODI series with a victory. And not just any victory, an emphatic victory at that. So I'm extremely happy with the way the Proteas performed in majority of this match. Now, obviously, there is always talking points and it's going to be opinions thrown around about certain aspects of the game. But for me personally, there's a lot of positives to take from this, and I'm really actually happy with some of the stages of the match and how we controlled it. There's a lot of things that I would like to say about the fight of this team, and that is something that is starting to become quite regular, and it could eventually become a complete habit with this team. And at the moment, I'm happy with seeing the culture actually grow, and that is something that's very important, is that you build a good culture within a squad and in a team that becomes a regular and a consistent thing for the team, and it's embedded in the culture. So I'm optimistic about this particular match and what we saw, but I think there are still a lot of things that we can learn and improve on for the next game, because I think for this one, when you start off so well in a match, you need to continue and you need to actually try and get a series victory. It would be nice if Coach Shukri can win at least one series on this tour, at least, you know, a one white ball series since taking over, because so far he hasn't, so he's had one try series and then he had the T20 series, which he lost. And it would be nice to get a win under his belt from a white ball cricket perspective. So we're going to be talking about all of that on today's show. And I'd like to hear your guys' opinion as well about what you think about this particular match, who you are happy about with regards to this, who you were not so happy about. And we can maybe touch on as well on who you'd like to see in the next match as well. But there was a hero today that stepped up and won us this game, I feel, with the ball, and then a couple of heroes with the bat. And there are some important talking points that we need to discuss as well. So let's get into today's video. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Cricket Fanatics Magazine. This is your review show. I'm your host, Khalid, and this is the show where we're going to be talking about everything that happened in the first ODI between Australia and South Africa. And it was an emphatic win for the Proteas, and I was very happy with the result. But there are a couple of things that I obviously want to bring up that we can chat about. But let's just run through the match for those that didn't have an opportunity to watch it. I mean, I did get up for it, and because we have to cover it as Cricket Fanatics Magazine. So, yeah, we put the report up. You can see our report there, but that's just a quick summary. But I like to get into more depth, obviously, with the review shows to the new people that have been subscribing over the last couple of months. So, let's start with the toss, because that's a major talking point for me. I was a little bit taken aback by Mitch Marsh's decision to bowl first in this match, because the wicket is quite tricky, and we know about the dew later on in the game. And I was quite surprised that they decided that they're going to bowl first in this match and allow South Africa to go in bat, especially with the one game that they lost in the T20s. It came from South Africa scoring a massive total and them not able to obviously chase it. So it was something that I was a little bit taken aback by. So ultimately, I was happy for South Africa to bat first, but we quickly saw that this was quite a tricky wicket. It wasn't your normal Australian type of wicket, And in fact, none of the wickets really in Australia so far in these new grounds that they're playing at, where not a lot of games get played, none of these grounds have actually been good for great wickets necessarily, like that green pitches that move, and the ball carries through quite well, etc. Not necessarily very spinner friendly. It wasn't that type of wicket, and it was quite sticky. And South Africa actually really struggled in the power play up front. Both Aiden and Rickleton took their time to get themselves going, and they actually really batted well, I feel. And the funny thing was, listening to this bloody Australian commentators, that this irritate the shit out of me, because they constantly are so biased to their own players. Now, I don't mind it if Australian fans or etc. are going to be biased, but when you're on TV and you are working for a major broadcaster, and your job is either commentator or pundit, etc., I expect a little bit of balance and unbiasedness when you are giving your analytics. Otherwise, I'll just listen to a channel like Cricket Fanatics or another fan channel that is related to a specific country or follows a specific team, and listen to their opinions, because ultimately, you want to try and be you want to hear unbiasedness, and you actually want to hear analysis from experts. So when a commentating team or commentary team is so biased in the assessments of certain things, and they are hypocritical in a way, I would say, because they say one thing for South Africa, but in the same thing that happens for Australia, they'll say something else. So, for example, we batted quite slow, and we took our time to get into this match. But Aiden Markram and Ryan Rickleton together, they you can see that they're still teething problems, or some teething that needs to still happen here when it comes to their partnership and understanding. There's a couple of times that there was almost miscommunication between the two of them, and they've had to say like sorry for to each other, or they have to come down and talk to each other, or you could see them communicating a lot. And this is a partnership that I feel is going to grow, and as it grows, I think it will bring the best out of both players. And I think it's important to have a left and right hand combination, because it makes it a lot harder to bowl to. So I've seen people talk about, oh, why do you need a left and a right hand combination? I've seen that type of comments flying around, just so that people or certain fans can push a narrative for a certain play that they love, that they want to see at the top of the order, instead of wanting what's best for the team, you know? So I believe that having a right hand, left hand combination at the top of the order is so crucial, because it doesn't allow the opposition bowlers to settle, especially if you can find ways to rotate the strike often. And that's something that South Africa obviously need to work on, the pair needs to work on and improve on, and I believe that they will, because I think that they're good enough to do so. You can see there's some rustiness in Ryan and and Aiden, etc., from having a long hiatus and having time off. Coach Shukri spoke about it on his press conference that I played on the previous show. So, and once I heard him say that, it gave me some light and understanding to that. I didn't think of it before until he mentioned it, and then I thought about it and I could see it. So all of those things just added up and changed my opinion on a lot of things, which is important. But there was a 92-run partnership between Aiden and Ryan Rickleton, and there was a lot of positives about it. I think Aiden played beautifully, and a lot of people are talking about him being dropped in white ball cricket. And I know this is a different format, ODIs, and people want him dropped in T20, but I think that um, he has more time here in ODIs. That's why you'll see a better Maiden Markram. In T20 cricket, he kind of rushes himself a bit, and puts a lot of pressure on himself to score quickly. So he ends up losing his wicket. But he needs to understand that there's a lot of games, so he doesn't need to do that. He can maybe take a little bit of time, because Ryan Rickleton also is quite a explosive batter. The two of them as a pair would make a brilliant partnership if they can just get into form. Um, Ryan lost his wicket first, of course, and it's in the manner that he lost his wicket as well. It was a bit unfortunate. It wasn't unfortunate, but it was a bit, you'd wish that he didn't throw his wicket away, kind of, that he wasn't responsible for his own downfall. especially after he got a little bit lucky. Before that he was dropped. They really struggled against spin, and I was like, at first, my opinion was like, I, watching it live, I was like, oh no, don't tell me we're going to be having trouble against spin again, because what the heck is Travis Head? How can you allow him to take flipping 4 wickets for 57 runs in a match? Against you. If you want to fall to a spinner, fall to flipping Zampa, who's more of a specialist type of spinner. But that was my opinion at first, and then as the game went along, I obviously my opinion changed, because then I started realizing, hey, but this Travis Head is getting some spin here. The ball sticking into the wicket, and the amount of spin that they bowled so early on gave you that idea. And yes, we could have batted a lot better in the power play, and could have put ourselves in a much better position. But we're 92 for 1 after 16.5. It is a bit slow, but we picked up the pace a little bit more. Aiden played a beautiful knock, 9 fours, a positive strike rate at least, 82 of 81. But then Temba came in. Oh, Temba looked so at home and at ease. He never looked nervous. He never looked like he didn't know what he was doing. He never looked uncertain. Number 3 seemed to suit him. I mean, especially in a match situation where your openers can actually get a good partnership. We've always spoken about that. Your openers need to get off on a good start. It just takes so much pressure off the rest of the order. And that's what happened today. 92 runs was on the board, and Temba came in, and the pressure wasn't as hectic, because they batted for quite some time and they put some runs on the board. That helps a hell of a lot. So Temba actually batted extremely well, I think. I think he rotated strike well when he needed to, blocked well, defended well. I think he was really good today, 64, 5 of 74. But when Aiden Markram lost his wicket, that was very, very sad, because like the commentator said, and something I do agree with, it looked like a 150 on the cards was for Aiden, the way he was hitting the ball. And the way he looked quite comfortable at the crease today, and I really enjoyed his innings. And he looked like he was going to get 100, and it was a perfect opportunity for him to do so. And this was a little bit it's unfortunate that once again he gives his wicket away. It happens so often that he gives his wicket away rather than them taking the wicket or them causing the wicket. So yeah, Aiden was brilliant, and then Matthew Brzezinski came in, and I said it in my show. I want to see Matthew Brzezinski start. Someone said in a comment on my last video that I said that Matthew Brzezinski has been inconsistent in ODI cricket. I don't remember saying that, because I know he's only played a couple of games and he's got 150 and 80 to his name or something like that. So it would have been very unfair for me to say that he's inconsistent if he's only played such little games in ODI cricket. So if I said he was inconsistent, what I meant was that he has been inconsistent every single time he's got an opportunity for South Africa. So he hasn't necessarily taken all of his chances for the Proteas in other formats. ODI has been good, and I think it was well deserved to be able to play at 4 today. And he performed once again. He scored another 50. So in ODI cricket, he has really found his rhythm, and I think he's found his format here. 57 or 56, positive strike rate, 7 fours, 1 6. He played really well. And Zampa was his downfall, unfortunately, but he played really well. And I was very impressed with Matthew Brzezinski today. And I think that perhaps that number 4 spot can be his. We don't have to rush into selecting a Luandre Pretorius quite yet, maybe. It gives us some rope, to work with. And it's a great option. And I like Matthew Brzezinski, always have been a fan of him. He also was really good to Cricket Fanatics magazine at the beginning of the start of the channel. He came on quite a few shows on the channel as well. He's been very supportive of this channel. So yeah, he's a player that I'm really happy that he's coming into his own. And he's batting. In ODI cricket, his batting has been incredible. He's been incredible. So yeah, more Matthew, and he's deserved to keep his spot. Then came the little bit of I wouldn't say a worry, and I wouldn't say a concern, but I'm hoping that this doesn't happen again. Tristan Stubbs and Brevis came in, and they came out immediately. It almost came out that you could almost tell that they came out with a preconceived idea of how they wanted to play. Yes, South Africa had 10 overs left in the match, and at the time of the wicket, sorry guys, at the time of the wicket of Brzezinski, South Africa were a little bit stagnant, you could say. 223 for three after 39.5 overs. So we needed to get as close to that 300 mark as possible. That was always going to be the aim, especially on this wicket with the highest score on this ground being 267. There's only been, I think, 5 games played here, 11 innings, I think, were played here on this ground. In total, including today's game, I think. So maybe out of 10 games, 10 innings, out of 10 innings in 5 games. So we knew that we needed to get above 250, 280, maybe 300 to win this game. And in the end, it obviously proved that 296 was more than enough because we won by a massive margin. But regardless of that, we knew that we needed to do that. And they came out here trying to hit off the first 2 balls already. And that ended up being their downfall because I felt that Australia read that. They knew that this is happening. They almost like could read that Tristan Stubbs and Deva Brevis. When Tristan Stubbs went out the way he did, I think they almost assumed that Deva Brevis is going to try and do the same. And yes, he got a 6 of the first ball, and the next ball he didn't connect as firmly and ended up getting caught on the boundary. And then we were in a little bit of trouble at that point, because then I was a little bit worried because we didn't have necessarily major power hitters coming in the middle. And at that point, obviously, after Brevis, we were 266 for 6. And I was getting a little bit worried. And at that point, Pavuma didn't have his half century yet. And I would have liked to see them try and maybe adapt their game to the situation, because the wicket didn't really call for that. It's not like we were hitting sixes, like our informed batters were hitting sixes for fun. We could tell that it was hard to get runs on this wicket. It was a little bit slower. So I didn't understand the approach. Yes, we talk about having the right intent throughout and continuously playing with that intent. But you also want to win matches because that will give fans hope. So I don't think that these players need to go guns ho, especially these 2. They don't need to come out and go guns ho. They can, because they are so talented and they are naturally attacking players. They just have to play the game and take this game, play this game naturally and play the natural game. And they would have been all right, and we still would have gotten maybe 320. So I wasn't very happy with the approach. You could almost tell that they came out like that. But yeah, Bavuma got his half century, and then as we got past the 280 mark, and Vian Mulder played a very good cameo, I think, 31 of 26. Those boundaries that he hit in the last over were crucial, especially the maximum on the final ball. It really took us as close as possible to 300 that we could. 296 for 8 we ended up with in 50 overs. And I was very happy with that total, but I knew we needed to bowl well. And then I got a little bit worried when we started bowling. I thought that having Lungengiri in the side on the sticky wicket would benefit us with his slower deliveries. But once again, he was bowling pace on and he was getting punished. Australia raced almost to 60 for no wicket in about 7.2 overs, I think it was. So they were looking really, really good. And Bavuma's captaincy today was brilliant because he decided to make the change to the spinners. And Brennan O'Brien, debut, gets the breakthrough of Travis Head. Orchestrated the stumping. And Travis Head went out for 27 of 24. Positive strike rate of 112. And then Keshav Maharaj took the ball. And my word, of 16 balls, he took 4 wickets. He just completely crushed Australia. They didn't know they were in the tiz. It was a spinning masterclass from Keshav Maharaj, and congratulations to him for getting his first maiden in this format. He was absolutely brilliant. LBW bowled. His wickets were fantastic. He was so smart with the lines and lengths he was bowling. He utilized this wicket brilliantly. Australia didn't have an answer. They were in disarray. The only person that really knew what they were doing was Mitchell Marsh on this wicket. And even though he got quite lucky with a couple of shots. That's how he plays, though. He intends to maybe hit it offside and hits it on the onside for four. Craziness. But like, yeah, 88 of 96, 91, strike rate 10 fours. He was good today. And you can see by this scorecard, this wasn't a six-seating wicket. So that just makes it even more that point that I made about Sturson Stubbs and 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 Deva Brevis going for those big shots as they walk out into the middle. I find it baffling because this wasn't that type of wicket. You can clearly see Mitch Marsh 10 fours for his 88, not 1-6, and he's a big hitter. So he understood the assignment and how he needed to play on this wicket. But it was complete dominance from Keshav Maharaj, from 60 for 0 in 7.1 overs to 89 for 6 in 16.2 overs. And then there was a good partnership between Ben Dwashaush and Mitch Marsh. I'm not going to say Ben Dorsers, how they say it. It's Dwashaush. I'm going to say it like it's supposed to be said from the native Dutch parents that he has. That's how it should be pronounced. So I will pronounce it like that. Sue me. But Ben Dwashaush put on a little cameo 33 or 52, and I was like, oh no, because at that point, even though Keshav Maharaj took those wickets, Australia was still in a very good position because they kept their run rate up quite well at the beginning of the match. And even though wickets fell, they were still up with the rate. So at that point, I was like, oof, they could still win this match. I wasn't 100% like convinced that because Mitch Marsh can just do a madness. Australia have those type of players that on the day can do something spectacular and end up winning the match for them. So yeah, I was a little bit worried at that point, but then Berger came to the party. Finally, the Seamers came to the party, who were extremely expensive today, but he got the wicket. He got the breakthrough that he needed to open up the tail for Lungi Ngidi, and Ngidi struck at the end there with 2 wickets to close the match, and they bowled him out for 198. And in the end, South Africa won by 98 runs, and it was a dominant victory. But look at those economy rates, guys. The way that Lungi and Nandre came back into the match was brilliant. That was very key. They started off poorly, but they finished strong. And that's very important with your bowlers, that you need to do that. Nandre bowled very well for his last couple of overs in his second spell. And Lungi Ngidi did well to end the tail. And much better with the extras. Only 11. Only 9 wides bowled today. That's very good. Not very good. That's better from the bowlers. So ultimately, a very dominant victory. But let's clinch the series. I want to win the series. So let's end it quickly so that we can do some experiments in the last game. That's what I would like to see from a South African standpoint. So that's my view, guys. I don't know what you guys think about that. Agree, disagree, like it, don't like it, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, please. If you're new, all those things you need to please do for me. And also comment in the comment section after the video has been after the stream has ended. Please go into the comment section and leave your comments there too. And then let me get into the live chat and see what you guys have to say. I'm going to try to race through them so that I can get to all of them. Craig says, best way for Kesh to answer being left out of the T20 squad. Justin FX says, I don't like how Shukri is using Brevis in ODI guy. He's capable of scoring 150s. You wasting him at 6. Even commentators is shocked to see him bat so low. There's no other place. If you want to bet him into the team right now and give him game time, as much game time as possible, there's no else he can bat at the moment because that top 4 is in incredible form at the moment. Paul Terry Maharaj spun his web. SA own Spider-Man. Agree with Justin. Stubbs and Brevis should bat higher, but at the moment, how can you drop Brevis? Have you seen his average and even his strike rate at the moment? How can you drop him? That would be incredibly unfair to drop him. And it's not like he scored against Minnows. He scored against New Zealand, and he scored against Australia. So like I don't see how I can drop Brevis at the moment, or move him down the order. Siram says true. Brevis and Stubbs has to bat higher up the order. May include Maharaj into the T20 setup. They don't have any quality spin option right now. It will take some time for Peter to get into the groove. The problem is when, yeah. Sarat says next match replace Stubbs with Luan, and Stubbs looks completely out of sorts with batting and fielding. He needs to play more. He's rusty. Stubbs haven't performed anything in the recent, including test matches as well. Dreamer Vision says, hi Khalid. How's it, bro? Lawrence, hi, welcome back, bro. Really good performance by the boys today. Markram continuing his excellent ODI form, and that is in a different batting position too. Temba excellent with 4 ODI 50s in a row, and Bretsky on top form. PDL Arjun says Bavuma step up out from white ball cricket. Matthew Bretsky number 3. Huh? I don't know what you're saying. Justin says, I see Rassi is still with the squad. Do you think he and Miller will join the ODI squad for England? It really depends on how people perform in this particular series. Tahal says, I think our ODI batting lineup is sorted. Ryan, Aiden, Timber, Bresky, Brevis, Miller, Mulder. Tala bowling lineup. Lawrence says the form of Stubbs is starting to get worrying. He's just not delivering at the moment, and it's clearly affecting his overall game as he keeps on dropping catches too. He seems to be in a bad space at the moment, and I'm sure that Coach Shukri will get the best out of him. Tabo, I still believe in him. Tabo says the issue with Bretsky is that he is fighting for a spot with Timber because Miller will take his place when he returns, and yes, we still need him. I don't think he's competing with Miller for a prize. I think that probably Stubbs and Bretsky at the moment one of them will be replaced with Miller. Lawrence says the only problem I have with Temba at 3, how he starts his innings. Temba has been good for us at the top, and especially in the power play where he normally scores most of his boundaries. I was happy with him at 3 today, though. He played the role that we needed him to do. Tala says best 11 for ODI: Aiden, Ryan, Temba, Bretsky, Brevis, Miller, Mulder, Janssen, Kesh, KG, and Ngidi. Tabo says because long term, Brevis isn't a 6. People forget that Verena averages 40 and Stubbs is out of form. The purple patch is over. Time says 6 is too late for Brevis. Sam says big point is Brevis should bat ahead of Stubbs because we need someone who can capitalize after Brevis. If Brevis entertained us, okay. If not, someone can come in and build on. Bretsky is a real gem. Talha says Brevis should bat at 5. In what time says Temba never looked nervous, Khalid. It's just he will let other batter pressure the way he bats. Okay, Lawrence says, I don't see how Bretsky gets dropped from our ODI side. In his 3 ODI innings, he mounted up 1 century and 2 50s. In my opinion, he's in direct competition with Stubbs for a permanent spot in this lineup. Sam says, it is reality when Aiden scores, we win always convincingly. In what time cases, Bretsky 3, Stubbs 4, Brevis 5 should be the position for 27 World Cup. Waka says, congratulations, Proteas. Sam says, Brevis is not a finisher, man. Even AB said Brevis should given permanent 1 position to bat on. Don't rush him with his position. Waka says, Ryan was struggling again today. He was. Tala says, I think we really need Temba in this team. You need a batter who can give you consistent performance, a batter who can rely on to come good. Taim says SA middle order selection will become very complex once Miller comes back. Tabo says Ryan needs to work on his offside game and he will be fine. Daim says Rickleton has poorest technique. Tex says we won. Yeah. Sam says because of Brevis type of playing and showing us aggression, he got out, let Brevis ahead of Stubbs, and Stubbs can play natural game. After Brevis, even today, we have so many balls left, but no, not a batter. Lawrence says it's funny how I see Ryan gets more stick than Stubbs in the chat. Stubbs has been terrible for a while now. Why is everyone so quiet about it? Justin says, yeah, I was also disappointed in Brevis. He doesn't play like this for Titans. He usually builds his innings in 50 over. I think it's because he has been given the role of finisher. I don't think Coach Shukri gives them necessarily roles like that. He wants them to just express themselves and play their natural games. So I don't know what went in their heads and why they did that, per se. But it's not a massive criticism, and I think that we need to give. I think we need to give Rickleton time. To get his form back. We have games. It's 2027 World Cup. Why are we stressing? We need to give these guys as much time to play together. Give Brevis as much game time. Give Stubbsy as much game time as possible. Because we know that if they inform, they're better than anybody else. That's the reality. So, like, Rickleton needs to also like just be given some time to shake this rust off. They've had a hectic cricket season last year, where they played a hell of a lot of games, and then they took a little hiatus, and then they came back. When you're playing so many games and you're in a certain groove, and then suddenly you stop for a couple of months, you do no cricket whatsoever, and you're on holiday and stuff, and you come back again, you are naturally going to be a little bit rusty. In my Times Square says no, Lawrence Stubbs hasn't been as bad as people think. Tony Waka says Tony for Ryan next match. We are back in Stubbs. Is young, still growing. Exactly. In my Times Square, he still had 2 good knocks in the T20 and 1 poor knock. Taim said, Lawrence, you forgot Stubbs in almost all white ball series in late 2024. Stubb, a keeper. Erotics, yeah. Justin says, I think Coach Shukri is telling Brevis and Stubbs to be ultra aggressive. I don't think he's telling them that. Clotliso says Brevis is a finisher designate. He is getting there. Ryan is struggling but played better today. I'm concerned about Ngidi and him offering free runs. Yeah. English played very bad. Shots his text. Time says Lawrence Stubbs is more sound away, bit better than Rickleton. Okay, these are things not to me. Sam says, Holly, what are your thoughts on Brevis ahead of Stubbs? Because we need someone who is smart after Brevis in chasing totals. This trick will help because we seen what happened in T20 World Cup final. Stubbs' natural game is also adaptable. So Stubbs is definitely not like that number 6 finisher like people think he is. I think he's a much better cricketer than he's letting out. That he's in bad form at the moment. And I think when we are building and when the culture is right and stuff like that, and when there's a new system, a new coach in place, it's only his first couple of games. I think the players also need a reset because it's a new culture. It's a new. We can't be judging them on how they played under other coaches. I don't think. I think everybody needs then a reset, and needs to be given time. Tabo says Maharaj's performance was a message that he wants to go to the T20 World Cup. I think that Maharaj is wasn't in the T20 squad. I don't think it's because of Coach Shukri not rating him. I actually think maybe it's because he wanted to give him some rest. To be honest, I don't know. Muller will be there in 2027, hence why he didn't retire. I feel Ferreira is as a finisher, but he hasn't played a listed cricket in 3 years. There you go. Daim says he is generally consistent. If you don't believe I can do nothing, he's got a little lean patch. Lawrence says Miller 100% will be there in 2027 World Cup. What are we doing here, chat? Um, Brendan says, I don't see Miller coming back in ODI. Temba in need is a need in this SSI. He stabilizes innings and his captaincy is superb in decision making. Roderick says Rickleton struggled against spin after power play. Daksh says, what the future for Rasi in the Proteas as he is contracted? We will have to see. Sam says, what about Aiden Markram bowling? He bowled good overs also. He needs. Oh, yes, he did bowl good overs. Yes, he did. And I think he needs to bowl himself more in T20 cricket, actually. He needs to back himself more, weirdly enough. Lawrence says Tristan Stubbs is a number 4. Bat him at number 4. That's where he's going to get the best out of him. He's a number 3, number 4. Yeah, you're right. And he should be batting there. But at the moment, we've got a problem because Matthew Brzezinski's batting brilliantly as well. So what do we do? That's the big question. What do we do? Anyway, guys, thanks a lot for tuning in. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Please subscribe to the channel. Click that notification bell for all future videos. Smash the like button and comment on the video after we've ended the stream, please. I'd really like it if you guys can do so as well. And then I'll see you guys again very, very soon on the next review show. We play the next game on Friday, I think. And yeah, we need to try and win the game at that point. So, Lawrence, don't start this. Don't start this. We deserve to win that match. 100% deserve to win that match. Yes, us. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you guys very, very soon. I did a bad Metro in life. I'm not going to take your name if you're going to spam the chat. So you want me to me a normal comment, and then I will show your name on the screen. I don't take people's names as spam. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you guys very soon with another show. Stay safe. Thanks. There you go. Thanks. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you guys very, very soon. Peace out.